Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angela, and today it's very special because I have a personal friend and published author. That's what we're going to talk about today. Cristyle Egitto is the author of Eat Palm Beach, the blog. And if you haven't followed her blog, you don't have to be based in Palm Beach. You just have to love food because she is the girl for you. But today she's here joining me on my YouTube channel to talk about her new launch, 111 places in Palm Beach that you must not miss. Thank you so much, Cristyle, for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela. I'm so excited.
Yay! So let's start talking about the book. First of all, tell everybody who's watching, who you are and your local expertise and why you chose to do this book.
So I am a South Florida native. I was born in Miami. I moved to Palm Beach in '92 after Hurricane Andrew, and I started Eat Palm Beach. We moved to Charlotte. Yeah, my little bio. We moved to Charlotte for a few years. When we got back, everything had totally changed. So I started a food blog called Eat Palm Beach to kind of rediscover the area and get reacquainted with everything. And my girlfriend got married in the Keys. And so as part of my gift, she got me the 111 Places in Miami and the Keys edition. I loved the book. And because I had grown up down there, my grandmother lived in the Keys, I kind of fact checked the guy. Like if he didn't have a couple things in there that I wasn't going to ride with it. And he had all of them. And I was like, okay, this is really nice. Like they got a local guy who knew the gems. I'm game. And so I started looking for the Palm Beach edition. It didn't exist. And so I decided, who better than me to write it? So that's how this all came about.
This is so amazing. And I want to give a special plug about the actual book itself, because I feel like people may not see it through the screen, but I just want to say a testimonial that this is a very high quality book. And I know it's for sale on Amazon. And while we're recording this is, holiday gift giving season. Just kind of tell us a little background about the type of book that it is and, all that kind of good
stuff. It is technically an international guidebook, comparable to like a Lonely Planet or a Frommer's. So it's for people who are visiting the area, but it's actually 111 Places. What makes them stand out is that they are designed for locals. So the point is that if you've been somewhere before, or if you've never known that something existed, even if you've been there, that it would have some kind of insight that you had no idea. So like, for example, a lot of people are like, oh, was the Flagler Museum in there? And I'm not allowed as the author to just send you to the Flagler. I have to send you to a point in contact that you may never have noticed was in the Flagler. So for example, I send you to Railcar 91 and I teach you the whole history of why that rail car was important, why they built the pavilion around it, and then go into the story of Henry Flagler and how he shaped Palm Beach. So for my particular edition, I did it where I tried to start at a story that I thought was really worth telling, and then I built out from there of where to send you that you could kind of be immersed in that experience.
I'm done, because literally you just summed up the way I feel about each little story that you have in here, because everybody knows, or maybe they don't know because this is YouTube, but if you don't know, I worked in tourism for Palm Beach County for almost 4 years, and I literally learned something in almost every single page that I read. I'm like, wow, this is actually really, really interesting and good.
I'm so happy. That was like my goal. There were certain people that I was like, if they read the book and they're happy with me, and you were one of them, I was like, I will be so pleased. I was like, I just need to teach someone like a little nugget of information and I'll know that it's worth it. But yeah, that's exciting.
You're really a genuinely good storyteller. Like the writing is interesting. I'm a reader, I'm a major reader nerd. And some books I'm put it down because it's no good. This book was so good. I was reading it on the beach, of course, how perfect, and I literally was like, this is fun. This is, wow, this too.
It's very easy reading, especially because each location is only one chapter. It's one page. And so you kind of get a really beautiful photo. Those were all done by Jacob Tacos, and it shows you the picture so you can kind of visualize what I'm talking about, and then tells you the story. And then it's kind of up to you if you want to go visit it or if you want to just kind of read about it. There's different ways to go. So it's fun.
Okay. I know it's like asking what's your favorite child, but do you have a favorite location?
I don't know. Some of the ones I really like are the ones that people pass all the time and they don't know are there. So for me, a really popular one in my mind is the 9/11 Memorial on North Lake Boulevard, because my husband and I, his in-laws live out that way, and we pass it at least once a week, and he had no clue it was there. And so finally one time I made him pull over and look at it, and he was like, unbelievable, this is here. And it's a really cool piece of history that's sitting there. I'm a big, supporter of veterans and our military, and I'm a big patriot. So for me, I think it's really special that we have that in Palm Beach Gardens, and it's cool hearing the story behind it and the people who came together to make it happen and who donated their time and their efforts and their talents to build that. So it's something special that we have in our area. But, there's the food places. So being the food blogger, I got to give them a little bit of love. But yeah, there's a lot of fun places. And one of the chapters has a picture of me and the fam. My editor suggested that. So that one's kind of like, I don't know, kind of a little cheesy. That's my favorite, at least photo wise. But yeah, no, I have a couple little gems they stand out for me.
That's so special. Thank you for sharing that. I want to tell you, of course, there are the high level attractions like Rapids Water Park. You know, those are the very obvious, in the public relations world, we would say low hanging fruit because everybody knows about it, but you have to include it because it's so big and that kind of thing.
And actually, those are my hardest ones to include.
Really?
I'm not allowed to include those unless I can find something that is so gripping that it's worth telling the story. So it's funny because people are like, of course the Flagler Museum's in there. And I'm like, I actually had to fight tooth and nail to get the Flagler Museum in there by finding the story to tell.
Oh, so it's tell me you did not have to fight about Loggerhead Marine Life because this is like one of the premier.
No, I mean, then they inspired the cover. So I was like, we're talking about Loggerhead. I love me the little turtle. So it's happening. But yeah, no, it's yeah, that one I didn't have to fight as much for, but I did have to find something interesting. I can't just tell you like, oh, take the kids to Loggerhead. That'll be fun. So I talked about how they do the turtle walks, and it's really neat how they do that. I talked about our nesting season because we have one of the biggest in the world. So it's yeah, it's kind of fun finding the way to make the places of interest and then really deep diving into them. I've been big into genealogy and history and research for a long time. So for me, it was a labor of love, but it was also just a total passion project.
Oh, you killed it. You killed it so well. And, again, I was reading it and I was literally like, she got so much stuff. I'm glad you touched on the food aspect because I literally was like, she infused interesting stuff about food. It's not just like, oh, the food's good, go look at the pretty picture and eat there. Like you literally told a story and
the
made
whole
it.
book would have been food.
Right.
If I was just like, this guy makes good food, I would have sent you all over town.
You're like, I can tell you which place to go and each thing. I mean, I'm literally just going to open one up randomly. Here's the grave of Johnny Brown. I tell that tourism story too. Fun, interesting. So good. There was another one that I was like going to bring up. Is it, we love the Brazilian court. We talk about them all the time. The Lake Trail. That is when I worked in tourism, the president and CEO of the marketing bureau was literally like always talking about the Lake Trail. He's like, this is such a great tourism asset. It's free, it's clean. And of course, now the world that we live in, pandemic, a lot of people are looking for the outdoor things to do. That's a fun one, Yeah. So of course, Crystal, you knew I was going to do it. I have to talk about the Solar Now tree. Like,
yes, FPL plug.
You were like, she's going to interview me and she's going to bring it up. So those on my YouTube channel who don't know this, I work for Florida Power and Light Company, and literally my job is promoting these solar trees around Florida, solar trees and canopies. And so Crystal included it and I was like, I'm freaking out. I was so happy. So speaking of someone who has kind of been included in the book, I mean, not me personally, but like my thing is in the book. I'm just like, I'm so happy. Thank you, Crystal. That's amazing.
Well, it's exciting because going back to kind of the tourism aspect,
Sure.
Florida, we do a lot. FPL, NextEra, they do a lot for renewable energy and clean energy. And I thought that was an interesting thing to be able to touch on. And the fact that it's along the Brightline station was the perfect tie-in for me. Although the Solar Now trees are actually at a good bit of the locations in the book. But yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting story to be able to tell. It's something that we're pioneers in it, which is kind of in Florida in general. I feel like we're like the Florida man. We always get the bad rap, but we did a lot of cool stuff.
So many things. And the thing is too, you really like, I literally have chills. I'm like, she's taking my job. She's hired. You told my story. But I also feel like, there's a lot of visibility to certain things that people just don't know. Like, that's why I'm always telling the solar tree story of like, that is a working solar panel. What's the big deal about it?
They don't even care.
Right.
See, I like stuff like that because I have my little ones, and Millie, she's so fun. So she'll be like, what is this thing? And we've parked under the canopies, like at the zoo and Joe Russo Park. And so I make her read the things and we read them out loud, and I explain to her how, because my husband works for NextEra, so there's also that. But I like to teach her about solar energy and how it works, and why it's important that we're parking under this and it's there. And I think it's a fun thing, as opposed to just walking by it and thinking it's, like a random public art sculpture or something at the Brightline. No, there's this whole thing going behind it, and there's a whole industry behind it that's like fascinating, and that we're on the cusp of, which is great.
It's literally like you summarize not just like NextEra and FPL, you literally also summarize a lot of the other things in the book, like it's you just did what you do in the book, which is like you take a story that actually represents something much larger. And again, I'm going to bring this one up because I'm a musician, I'm an organist, the Kravitz Center organ. That's one aspect of a very large tourism entity. The Kravitz Center is not just known for the organ, but the organ is a very interesting fact, a very, to me, compelling part of it's history and story and a very cool reason to go see it, but it's one of 100 reasons why you should go visit the Kravitz Center. So I think your book does an excellent job of, basically taking things like that, making them interesting, having a compelling photo. And, I don't know, I love this book so much. I think it's affordable. It's a great gift idea. I know you poured your heart and soul in this. I know you did. I know you worked I don't know how you do everything that you do. We could talk about the Breakers real quick too, because this is like the founder of Palm Beach for everybody that doesn't know the history. I'm gonna let you tell it. I'm gonna stop my tourism. You tell them about the Breakers and what it is in your book.
I love the Breakers. It's one of the most beautiful resorts on Palm Beach. And the story kind of tells a little bit about Henry Flagler, but also some really fun stories. Like the woman, what is her name? Molly Brown, who survived the Titanic, also survived a fire at the Breakers. So there's a lot of fun little tidbits and stuff that go into all of the chapters. But I'm wanting to touch on something really quickly too, because it's funny. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, during COVID, isn't that just the worst that's when this thing went released? And honestly, I love it. Because going back to the Kravitz, our cultural venues are struggling so badly right now. They haven't been able to have ticket sales. They haven't been able to have productions. And I love that when they are able to, that people will 100% see them. Or maybe they'll find a different reason to go to those locales, or they'll be like, you know what, I really do need to be supporting the arts and supporting the cultural institutions in our area because we don't want them to go away. So I love stuff like that. I think it's going to be a really exciting thing for people to also local tourism. It's all about like discovering your own backyard now that, we're not trying to travel by air and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a great way for people locally to be able to kind of adventure around and not go aimlessly. And that's one thing I like about the design of the book. They make it pretty. So on the bookshelf and on your coffee table, it's pretty, but they also purposely make it this size. So you can throw it in your backpack, throw it in your purse, and really take it around with you. Maybe not the one I gave you that's signed, like maybe keep that one cute, but, but the other one, beat it up, whatever you got to do. But yeah, no, so I think it's a really cool way to do it. And I love it that it's a $20 price point going into holiday season. Cause I feel like a hostess gift, if I go get, a nice candle, $32, I can give them a $20 book they can keep forever. It's kind of a home good. It's kind of a fun, read. So yeah, I think it'll be good for the holidays. I'm hoping people feel the same.
I feel funny too, because I can say that if you want to shop local, you can buy this book because you're supporting a local author. That's you, and you are somebody that is very invested in the community. One thing I love about you is that you give back a lot and you support, I know at the very beginning of the pandemic, there were a lot of restaurants that were struggling. I know that was, again, one of your passion points, that you really went out of your way to give coverage and promotion to these restaurants that, again, livelihood and jobs, people reliant upon that source of income. So I definitely think it's important. And, I just want to personally thank you for doing this and for making such a beautiful book. Again, I don't work in tourism anymore, but on behalf of the tourism community of the Palm Beaches, like this is a gift.
You're never leaving.
So thank you so much for this. Now, before I go, is there anything I haven't asked you that you think it's important for people to know about this and another reason why they should buy it? I mean, you literally listed 111 reasons to buy the book.
Maybe where to get it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it actually at target.com, which I think is also kind of nice because you can throw it in and then you get free shipping and all that kind of good stuff. There are some places that will be carrying it local, but I kind of like using it as a holiday gift guide also, not just as a gift, but I ended up creating a guide that I put on the blog where you can go through and it tells you some of the different locations and how you can support local by going to these places. And, if you go get some fun stuff from Blue Line or go buy Pump House Coffee or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of different cool ways in here that you can support local other than just the book.
This is amazing. So good. And of course, in the description box below in my YouTube video, I will have both your blog post with the holiday gift guide. I'll also have the Amazon link to that. So of course, I will also have your social media links. So thank you for your time coming on. Thank you for writing this book. I love it so much. I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you so much, Angela. I love you. I appreciate your love and support. You were like one of the first people to know about this book. So I'm like so happy that it happened.
Life is full circle. It's funny to see that it finally came out. I was like, can you sleep? Because I know you probably must have been so excited. Like, how do you breathe,
I am. I'm thrilled. I'm really excited. I hope everybody loves it as much as I do. And I hope I was able to get these stories across in a way that could fit on one page and kind of dive into the depth of it all.
Well, you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Angela. I appreciate it. Have a good one.